Peace, peace, peace. I am Dr. Phillip Roundtree, and this is hashtag You Good Man, a men's wellness conversation. This is where we tap into the realities of mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health for men, especially Black men, in ways that are honest, vulnerable, and rooted in community. Today, I'm joined by a brother who has been doing powerful grassroots work with young people and men across the city of Philadelphia. We have educator, mentor, poet, and founder of MBK Cares, Ihsan Hines. Peace, brother. Thank you for joining me.
Peace, Phil. I'm sorry, Doc. Peace, brother. It's really good to talk to you today. I'm encouraged to be able to connect with you once again, and I'm believing we're going to have a good conversation to connect with other people through it.
Word. I appreciate that. Well, before we begin, I got to ask you the most important question I'll probably ask you today. How are you feeling right now? Or more specifically, you good man?
I'm good right now. I woke up not so good, but I'm pressing
Mhm.
through some stuff, and this conversation is crucial for me, being able to connect. So I'm processing some stuff to be fully transparent with you. I'm processing some stuff, but it is what it is, and I'm grateful to be able to talk to you.
I want to honor you and affirm the just your willingness to be vulnerable on this platform, right? It's something that we continuously ask of men, but we never know if the space is safe enough for us to really express how we're feeling, right? And so for you to come on here and just be open and honest, saying, "Hey, I'm navigating some things," that's important. And so I know there's going to be somebody who listens to this who is affirmed to say, "Hey, it's all right for me to be honest about what I'm experiencing." So, with that being said, we're going to start at the beginning. What's inspired the creation of MBK Cares, and how has that work evolved since you started?
So the organization, MBK Cares, is short for My Brother's Keeper Cares, and the tragedy of losing my own brother Atif to suicide is what started the organization, or what started the desire in me to start connecting with the community. And when my brother first died, I was being invited out to a lot of suicide conferences and different spaces to talk about suicide or the loss of someone to suicide. And I was leaving these conferences and these spaces feeling worse than I walked in, because it was just a whole lot of statistics. It was a whole lot of people sharing their grief, but it wasn't really a lot of messages to encourage hope. So I was determined to create those spaces if I ever had an opportunity. I also didn't give the date, but my brother died August 31st, 2007. So years later, I was determined, when I got opportunities, to create space where people could feel better when they come into those spaces. So my friends, my family, we got together and started hosting concerts at Love Park in Philadelphia, just to like try and encourage our neighbors. And through that, we realized like the homeless people were in need of encouragement because they were our biggest audience. People just passing by, the homeless and the hungry, became the people we decided we needed to serve and encourage. And then it's evolved because my own struggle in 2018, I had a plan to take my own life, which caused me to like really focus on my own mental health in ways that I wasn't before. So I went from a lost survivor to somebody who struggled with their own plans to take. I've had plans to take my life. Ultimately, I got the help that I needed, and I realized like a lot of people in my neighborhood didn't know how to access or didn't have the access to the support that I got. So we decided to create community conversations at the local libraries, and just the community grew from there. So the organization has evolved from something that was just about remembering my brother to something that was honoring our neighbors. And it's evolved so much since then to be able to create programs where young people can get the tools they need in order to self-regulate, resolve conflict, be the peer supports that they need for one another. So it's evolved into a mentorship program. My own journey, first off, I didn't really prioritize therapy until like 2018. After my brother died, I did tap into therapy a little bit, and I had a great therapist who was teaching me some things and just trying to help me deal with the initial loss of my brother, but also while I was navigating other life changes that were happening at the same time. My my daughter's life started that week that my brother died. My ex got pregnant with my daughter the same week that my brother died, and then I went through a big breakup that year. So there were three significant life changing situations that happened within a matter of a couple of months. And each of those could have just been, each of them individually could have been enough for a whole lifetime, but I got all three at once. And navigating that made me really have to tap into therapy and prioritize staying in therapy. So I was able to tap into this program called the EAP program through my former employer, which introduced me to a therapist that I could connect with and sustain that relationship beyond the initial EAP visits. And then I also got introduced to therapy. I'm sorry, not therapy, journaling. I got introduced to just being in the environment more, like peaceful environments, going for walks. And I also had family, my uncle in particular, who started encouraging me to prioritize my time and schedule my time. So he told me to buy a planner and to start writing in there things that I wanted to do during the day. I'm going to do some push-ups at this time. I'm going to go for a walk at this time. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z and schedule it. And through that, he was teaching me how to love myself with prioritizing my time and scheduling myself into my time. So over the years, the process of journaling has really helped me because I've been able to be really angry and be okay with expressing that. I've been able to be hurt and express that and get it out on a page full of tears, get it out on a page, and it made it easier for me to communicate that with other people. I just now recognize some of the tools that help me so that I'm not overwhelmed by the process.
Hmm. Hmm. Whew, that resonates. That resonates so much. I want to circle back to you mentioned the EAP program, which for those who aren't familiar, that stands for Employee Assistance Programs. And a lot of times, if you get your insurance through your employer, you may be entitled to 5, 6, 8 free therapy sessions, right? And that sometimes is your introduction to therapy. I know it was for me too, using those free therapy sessions. And then it's incumbent upon you if you want to continue on. So if you are out there listening, inquire with your employer, with your insurance company, to see if you have those benefits that allow you to seek out therapy at no cost initially, and then copay and so forth. Now you talked about a lot of the methods that you utilize personally, right?
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I can appreciate about you. It's just like, hey, I'm learning something. I learned something new. I'm gonna share it with the people. That's what community is. And so I know you do that with MBK Cares as well, right? You use tools that aren't always thought of as traditional therapy where you're laying on somebody's couch. You utilize things, as you mentioned earlier, like art, like chess, like golf, like poetry. Why specifically those methods? And what impact have you seen them have on young people and men that you serve?
Well, the poetry part, one, I'm a poet. I am a rapper slash poet by the name of Purpose. So that was something that was just special for me to be able to express myself, and being in spaces where you hear poets perform or share their thoughts, it tends to be a very transparent environment. So I found that creating those kind of spaces where we have programs and events that involve poetry, you let people share their truth, but also allow people who are in the audience hear it and be inspired by what they're hearing, but also potentially tap into writing and creating their own poetry. And when it comes to the arts, my brother was an artist. So that connection, some of it is because of the legacy my brother had, but also in learning from different art therapists, art therapy is important and allowing people to be able to tap into photography, painting, poetry. It gives people an opportunity to be able to like process some stuff and just also experience some stuff in new environments as well. And as far as chess and golf, I was introduced to chess and golf at a young age. I had a mentor who I wasn't even in his class, but he was a teacher at my school. And he just saw me in the hallways at a very troubled high school. I went to West Philly High, and I had somebody just invest in me and try to teach me how to play chess. He also taught me the art of debating and also mock trial. He introduced me to things that helped me navigate a very dangerous environment in my high school so that I could focus and just get some guidance. And chess, I re I was reintroduced to it during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, a friend of mine told me about this app called chess.com, And I started playing it all the time, and it helped me self-regulate, but it also helped me to measure, where am I? If I'm not winning, or if I'm not even playing competitive chess, I knew that I wasn't thinking or processing thoughts right. And I still have that. I play probably 10 to 15 times a day on my phone. And if I'm getting trashed in the chess game, then I know that I'm not making good decisions on a small level. So it was about exposure. And when it came to golf, I was fortunate to have a mentor who had access to going to play golf. He was a doctor, and he was a general in the Air Force, and he took me under his wing and taught me how to play golf, and took me on golf courses in spaces that weren't full of black people, and especially black teens. And it was happening at a time when Tiger Woods was a young golfer in his prime. So I was introduced to something, and I realized, like, young people in my neighborhood are not introduced to it. They're not taught that chess can be fun. They're not taught that golf can be not only fun, but it can open up so many opportunities and put you in space to have a lot of conversations that can enhance your life and just introduce you to some wonderful people.
Mm,
So we were intentional about trying something new and getting young people from environments off their block. A lot of these kids in the city of Philadelphia haven't been out of their own neighborhood, or they haven't been exposed to some things in their own neighborhood. We've been fortunate to be able to have our programs in Strawberry Mansion, and some of the kids in Strawberry Mansion don't even know that there's a space like the Discovery Center, or there's a space like Strawberry Green Driving Range right in their neighborhood, because they're just diamonds in the rough. And forgive me if saying those spaces is not allowed, but just introducing people to spaces and different environments is why we chose these activities and chose these art forms.
mm, mm. Yeah, you touched on a few things there. You touched on the importance of mentorship and what that's meant for you, not only in your mental health journey, but your journey as a black boy who transitions into a black man, and how the things that we learn in our youth, which we may or may not have interest in, right? Because a lot of times it's like, come on, old head, I ain't trying to hear that, right? Even if we are engaged in, the next thing we know, as an adult, we're utilizing those same methods, whether in a healthy way or an unhealthy way. We all have some sort of skill, right? Some sort of skill that could be beneficial to community as a whole. And so when we take those skills and we bring those to community and say, hey, this is what I have to offer, you never know who it may impact, right? And so when we talk about these, even though things like art therapy, right, is extremely popular, when we talk about things like chess, like golf, poetry, that's definitely a part of a modality where within the therapeutic space. But these quote unquote atypical type of modalities, as again chess, as golf, how as basketball, um as apps, right? So many different things that we can utilize to help with things like behavioral self-regulation, to if we take the time to sit and learn and process and understand how we can use these mechanisms to the benefit of
Mhm.
self and the benefit of others. So I definitely appreciate that. And yeah, my first time playing golf was at Strawberry Green. Went to the driving range. Again, the importance of old heads, the importance of mentors. I went there, had no idea what I was doing. This was probably about 10 years ago. The old head came out and he was just like, "Oh, hey, go ahead, you take them balls." And I mean, I had just bought some golf clubs off the marketplace, and I'm sitting there swinging. He just gave me the free balls. Then another old head came and was like, "Hey, let me show you something." Right? And I'm
Yeah.
sitting here, you know what I mean? Like he's teaching me, and that was uncomfortable. And it wasn't uncomfortable because of what I was learning. I was uncomfortable because my interactions with elder black men was far and few
Yeah.
between. Right. And
Yep.
so I didn't really know I was that discomfort that I was feeling in my belly was because I didn't really have a mentor growing up, right? That I can count on consistently or that I took advantage of because they were there, right? And so I felt compelled to share that because again, what I hear you explaining and discussing are the same types of gems and wisdom and effort and energy and communal love that was poured into you from elders. So with that being said, we know part of the battle is the stigma of mental health. So what challenges do you face breaking that stigma in our communities? And what's been effective in pushing back against that?
Some of the challenges are like one, even like inspiring, like letting people know that they have. I'm trying to think this through a little bit. The stigmas that one, I haven't experienced a lot of stigma, and I think that it's because a lot of the things I've had opportunity to talk about put me in spaces where I've been able to be transparent, and it allows other people to do the same things. Even with you, like you've held spaces where people, the walls come down because people hear what you have to say. So I haven't experienced some of those same challenges, and I've been fortunate. I do know that they exist for a lot of people, but because I've been able to share my story and share about the loss of my brother, a lot of people feel more comfortable just talking about things. One of the challenges that I have experienced over the last few years is getting young people to talk about their mental health. Getting adults to talk about it has been more normal, but getting young people to talk about it is a little different because they're dealing with a lot of gun violence and a lot of just not regular, but a lot of other types of loss of life, not just suicide, which is causing a lot of hopelessness amongst them where they're not even thinking about the future because they think it's not coming anyway, or they're afraid all the time. I can't imagine what it's like right now to be a teenager in the city of Philadelphia. I am connecting with some and learning their stories and learning their journeys and their hopes and all of that. But to combat things, I think that was the question you asked. I'm listening more and giving people a chance to express themselves, even when I don't agree with it. I heard someone recently, I'm not going to say his name or anything, but I heard a young person say if somebody around him was expressing thoughts of suicide, he would like smack them. And I'm thinking like, dang, that can't be the answer because somebody's hurting and you're going to hurt them on top of that. But I also just have to listen because that's that person's thought process of how to address somebody feeling broken in front of them, and then allow them to say that, listen to it, and from there try to build a relationship so that I can impart wisdom or somebody else can address it. Whoever is responsible for addressing that with that young person. But listening more because when you don't know people and you try to speak to them, sometimes people just dismiss what you have to say. But when it's young people or when it's most people, but it's particularly young people, they have to trust you and they have to know that you care because a lot of them are dealing with either one parent gone or both parents gone, and if they're dealing with that, their trust or their ability to trust is already broken. It's fractured in a way where they can't just trust teachers. They can't trust police. They can't trust just people who are caregivers. So listening has helped to break down those walls.
That's a word. That's a word. Listening and trust. And trust is built and can be built through listening, especially when you're dealing with young people, right? Because as we grow up in this society, especially as a black boy, we start to lose trust early on, right? We lose trust around within our household, those around us. A lot of our friendships, a lot of our relationships are frivolous. I'll use I statements. A lot of my relationships when I was younger was about, hey, let's go talk to some girls, right? Not really necessarily us discussing what was happening in our lives, whether in school, whether at home, and so forth. As I got older, hey, let's go get a drink. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that, right? But a lot of this is like surfacey. It never gets into the 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 true level of friendships like I have now with some of these same people, where it's just like, yo, bro, this is what I'm going through with my wife. Yo, fam, this is what I'm going through with my mental health. You think I should go talk to a therapist and so forth? Things that I know these people wouldn't have done over the last 10 years or so. And the reason why I think they feel comfortable in coming to me specifically is because I'm not going to laugh them laugh them out the building. I'm gonna take time and listen. I'm gonna take it serious So you highlighting this, that importance of trust. And once trust is lost, it's so hard to get back. It's so hard to get back. So I appreciate you bringing that up. So I want to transition to what it looks like for MBK Cares going forward. What vision do you have for your nonprofit organization over the next few years? Where do you want to take this movement?
I would like to see more chapters of the organization, other cities, and creating a model that people can put into their urban environment. It may not necessarily have to be chess or golf, but some of the foundational pieces where it comes to introducing art and just an activity that can be different. People might not have golf, but they might have like maybe some skate parks or maybe just some other like pickleball or whatever activity, but incorporating a physical activity that also stimulates the mind. I would hope that it could be chess and golf wherever because the mental component that they both involve and the etiquette that they allow you to practice. But just expanding, but also in opening up some of our other programs. We have about 16 program ideas that we haven't executed yet. I want to do more work when it comes to foster care and like the adoption agencies because a lot of those people in those spaces, whether the caretakers or the people who are being adopted or just being brought up through those systems, they need mental health support. I would like to do more for the veterans. There's more work that we want to do with returned citizens or people who are in prison, incarcerated people, just to make sure that they get the care that they need so that people can just be treated like decent citizens. There's a whole lot more on the horizon, but my goal is also ultimately to allow the story to get off of me. A lot of the story has been on my struggle and on my own loss of my brother. I would like this story and also the service we provide to be more about who we serve in the community. So right now there's a strategy and a plan to be able to bring more people into the organization who will have expertise in areas that I do not have so that the organization can just flow better and have a broader reach. So I'm just hoping that things can become more about the community that we serve and less about people just being compelled to gravitate towards my story and my relationships with the community, but about people meeting needs and other people seeing a way that they fit into the organization. I want strangers to say, "Hey, I want to volunteer. I want to fit in." Or I see a place that I can fit in. Hey, I have expertise with accounting. I can help you with that. I'm a lawyer. I can help you with this and that. I'm looking for people to see the fit that they have in the organization and feel comfortable walking into it.
Mhm. Mhm. And knowing you, I'm certain it's going to get done. Knowing you, I know it's going to get done. Before we get out of
I
here, I
hope
always
so.
like to bring it back to the people, right? So if there's a brother out here struggling, maybe
Yeah.
feeling like he can't say I'm not okay, what's one thing you want to leave him with?
It's okay to cry, cry it out, have a good cry, um, hug yourself, love yourself. I encourage you to tell yourself something good that you did this year. And it's actually good that I'm saying that because this morning I had to practice this. I was really thinking about things that I've lost, and I was struggling to process so many good things that have happened. So I encourage somebody out there to remind yourself of something good that you've accomplished or something good that you've encountered, a person that you encountered, especially with men. We deal with a lot of loss sometimes, and we deal with a lot of just disappointments, and we deal with it in bad ways. So I encourage whoever's out there to tell yourself something good and also just give yourself grace. You may have messed up. You may be the perpetrator of the own experience you're living out. You may be living out consequences that you've contributed to, but that doesn't make you exempt from love. That doesn't make you exempt from the grace of God. That doesn't make you exempt from people's respect and also just another chance. So I encourage you to just give yourself some grace, cry it out if you must, and please open your mouth and tell somebody if you're struggling and give somebody an opportunity to love on you and support you and walk along with it. And Phil, I'm going to put this back on you. You've done that for me. When I was in crisis, I walked into a space that you hosted and you curated, and you and the other brothers in that space held me down. And I think a lot of the things that MBK Cares right now would not exist had I not been supported by other brothers who took time to create those kind of spaces and conversations. Thank
I
you, brother.
appreciate that. I received that. I received that. See, now you got me. You know, the tears is a good thing, right? It's a good thing. I appreciate. You know what I mean? I was just going to try to say something else, but it's just like, no, I receive it, and I appreciate it. I'm glad you've seen value in the work that I do, and the work that other brothers put in for those who attend any space that I may curate. I'm just a vessel for it all. Um, so yeah, so with that being said, listen, Ihsan, I thank you for coming and sharing space and sharing your truth with us. I want to salute you for the work that you and MBK Cares is doing for men and boys, and just for our communities at large. If you want to be in contact with Ihsan and MBK Cares, you can hit him up at mbkcares.com. And because the work that he's doing is so important. It reminds us that healing is possible, community is necessary, and our lives are worth fighting for. And remember, when it comes to men's mental health and wellness, the road isn't easy, but it's worth it. Peace.
Peace.